Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen. Today I'm going to be doing a garden tour. I've been meaning to do this for weeks and it just hasn't happened, but today I'm going to try and do it. So I tried to earlier and of course it started to rain out of nowhere and it wasn't supposed to rain today. So anyways, it's overcast. I'm going to try not to squint too much, although it already seems like I am. And I'm going to show you our garden and kind of what I'm doing this year. Just throwing this out there, I am not an expert by any means, but I do enjoy gardening, trying different things. It's all just kind of an experiment. So I'll show you what we got going on. So this is kind of an overview of our garden here, and I'll kind of take you through everything and show you a little bit more detail what we got growing. So this right here is our strawberry bed, and I am so excited about our strawberries this year. This is probably the first year that we have had like actual production of strawberries. Last year we had moved, so I brought our strawberry plants, planted them, and this garden was not fenced. We found out very quickly that the deer knew the garden was here and they ate all the leaves off the strawberries. So we basically were starting from like nothing again. So they did grow, but they didn't, maybe we had a few strawberries last year, but that was basically it. The year before we had these plants and they were like new plants. So they, again, didn't really produce anything. So this is the first year that they're actually producing and it is so exciting. I do have a bird netting over them right now because we just got back from being out of town and I was going to be devastated if I got back and they were completely gone. But they are still green and here, I'll show you. There's just a ton of them. So they are growing really well, but if you look in here, there's so many strawberries. I really just can't believe it. So we have this bed here, and they kind of come down on this side. These strawberries have runners, which means they you know, trail off. Here, let me see if I can find one and I'll show you what I mean. So like here, this is I believe it's called a runner, and this will eventually root into the ground and then you'll have a brand new strawberry plant. So after it roots, I just cut them, and that's what these little plants are. These are the first year that they are here, and they're just little. But I, for these ones this year, I clipped off all the flowers so that the plant can focus on just growing to be a stronger plant, and then next year they will actually have strawberries. Now like this one, I wasn't very good. This happened when we were gone, and there are strawberries growing. So, you know, some of them might be a little bit behind, but for the most part I tried to clip the strawberries off of these smaller ones, and then we'll have a bunch of more new ones for next year. And you can see this is probably going to be our very first strawberry. Look how beautiful that is. It's just starting to turn red. And some of these are just so beautifully big. So also in our strawberry planter raised bed, I guess this is, yeah, a raised bed. We have asparagus. This was here when we moved in, and these here are going to seed. You can see they're pretty small. Unfortunately, again, these went to seed while we were gone. They grow so quickly, and like here's one back here that hasn't gone to seed, so I'll clip this one tonight. But look at that huge asparagus. But there's lots of little ones coming, and it seriously takes maybe just a couple of days, and these are, you know, you need to pick them quickly before they go to seed. Now the real little ones, you don't really want to harvest those. You want them to go to seed and grow stronger for the next year. But a lot of these, I think this has been here for a while. I did plant some smaller seeds, and I don't know that any of them really came up. This one was the one that came up right here. So that one is going to seed. But yeah, anyways, this asparagus is truly delicious. I love having this little bed. It's not really enough for like a side of asparagus for dinner, but we do basically just pick it and eat it fresh from the garden. So down here at this end of the strawberry bed, last year I had planted my zucchinis here. I had one here and I had planted another on the other side. However, it's probably a good thing that it was destroyed by a critter. It's no longer there, but this will produce so much zucchini that only one should really be in this bed, and one plant will be enough for us for the entire summer and for storage. So for my beds, I've tried to put sunflowers. Like you can see one little one here, it's getting kind of eaten by something, and another one at that corner. I had a very baby marigold. Where is it? You see it right there. Yep, that's a marigold. I didn't buy any marigolds. Well, no, I did. I actually bought a 4-pack of marigolds this year. But typically I buy a lot of marigolds, and since we're not going out, I didn't do that. So I tried to plant some from seed, and they're not really doing very great. So next to the strawberry bed, this bed here, this is just in the ground. So we have a combination of raised beds and in ground, and there's another raised bed down there. But this is going to be corn, and this was kind of a last minute decision, but we planted this right before we left, and unfortunately it did not. The corn did not sprout. Now that corn was extremely old. I want to say it was probably 10 years old. I've never really grown corn, but the boys really wanted to, and this was going to be our tomato and pepper bed. However, I've had really bad luck with tomatoes, and with the amount of rain we're getting this year, it's not going to be worth the time and effort to have tomatoes out here that's not covered and just get disease fairly quickly and not produce really anything. So we decided we're going to try corn, so that's what's in this bed. And what we planted didn't sprout, so I had purchased some other seeds which took a while to get here, and there's a couple of different kinds. I think that one of them was peaches and cream, and then the bantam corn, is that what it's called? I don't know, but so anyways, we have both of those planted in here. I'm not sure how many rows we have, but they're about a foot apart, which I think that's what the package said to do. So we'll see if we get any corn. I don't know. And I think this corn was an 80 day until maturity. So it's a pretty quick crop. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's an experiment. And then in the corners of this bed, I do have sunflowers as well. Next to the corn, well, first of all, we have this sprinkler here in the middle. That's how everything was watering while we were gone. But this is, they're all potatoes. So they're doing really well. They're growing like crazy. What I did was I dug a foot trench, put the potatoes in there, gradually covered them as they were growing, and they just took off. So then I bought hay and put pretty much a whole bale of hay, and now I'm just going to let them go because that should be a lot of potatoes. And there's several varieties. I can't even remember which ones they are, but that will be fun too. I've not grown that many potatoes before. And then next to the potatoes we have onions, and again, this is two different varieties. I don't remember off the top of my head what they are, and they need to be weeded really badly, but they're doing good. They're getting bigger. I don't know. Like I said, I've not grown these. This is the first, and I have sunflowers just throughout the garden. I think they'll look really pretty as they grow. Next to the onions, we have the garlic bed, and I planted this last fall, and I think it'll be ready like more towards mid-summer. I think. I don't know. And what I've done here, which I'm not having very good success, but I have planted carrots in between each of these rows. There was a row of arugula here, and I've already taken that out because it went to seed. But there's carrots in between all of these rows, and they have not sprouted yet. I planted those right before we left, and again, there's sunflowers in the corners here. I'm hoping that the carrots do sprout, because I just feel like this is taking up so much space. And if it doesn't produce good garlic, then it's just, you know, not a waste, because I'm learning, but...
Mama, I want to go into the vlog.
Okay, go ahead.
Mama says I can't.
Say, Mama said you can. Okay? He wants to go on the chicken run. So, anyways, I'm just hoping that it actually produces something. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And on this bed, I've planted some little lettuces here and there amongst all the weeds. There's some lettuces here. I just needed a place to put them before we left, so they were going to be able to be watered. So they're just kind of sporadically through the garlic. So this is another angle of the garden looking this way. I'll go in there a little bit later, but up this path here, I like to have a lot of flowers mixed in, and I was able to buy a few when Jeremy went to Costco. He got a pack of those. And this cattle panel is peas and a few beans at the bottom, and I don't know if those beans are bush beans or pole beans. I thought they were pole, but they are just now starting to put off their little grabbers, tentacles. I don't know what these are called. But anyways, we have a ton of peas. They are doing really, really well. I've almost reached the top, and I think they're going to start flowering really soon. So those are planted on either side of this. And then today we just planted, we added this other cattle panel. We have one little sunflower here, and these will be all pole beans that we just planted. Did you help me plant those, Coulter?
Mm-hmm.
You did, huh? All right, on the other side of these, well, we have, this is a bee box. We obviously do not have bees. These are like for mason bees, but we have not done that since we moved in here, but it was here. And I have my composter, just like a trash bin, some flowers, but all this stuff needs to be moved out, and then I could have more room, but we just haven't done that yet. So on the other side of here, this is going to be our pumpkin and like squash bed, and what else do I have in here? So I don't know what happened to that tag. So we have a couple of sugar pumpkins. I think that's what those two are. This one is a white pumpkin that was from Trader Joe's. I love that pumpkin, so I saved some of the seeds and planted one of those. This one is Big Mac's pumpkin. Of course, it's the smallest one. This one is another Big Mac's. This is a spaghetti squash. That was a Kajari melon, however, it disappeared while we were gone. There's a jack-o'-lantern, or a couple of those, and this is a Cocozelli squash. I don't know, I've never grown that before. Yeah, so this will be the pumpkin squash bed. I may have a couple of other ones that I'll actually add in here, but I think this is going to get really out of control very quickly. I don't expect that all of them will thrive and do well. You can see some of them are bigger than others, but we'll see. If there's too many, I can always just discard it, or just have them entangle and everything. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so then back here behind the pumpkins, we have our rhubarb, and unfortunately, I don't really use the rhubarb. I have frozen it a couple of times and never used it. However, now that we have strawberries, I'm hoping that maybe I can make a strawberry rhubarb pie. And since it will all have come from the garden, maybe I'll be motivated to do that. But this stuff is huge. I mean, this was here before we moved in, and it is very well established. It is crazy. I've already taken some off of here just to clear it from taking over. But it's a nice rhubarb patch there. Then back in this wild jungle over here, it always gets so crazy. We have our artichokes, and they are, let me see if I can get back here. They are starting to actually produce. So we have one here. There's several more back there, but this is just crazy town. This is crazy town artichokes. It seriously gets out of control very, very quickly. And then behind it, there's a grapevine. So it's planted here and it goes that way and all the way over here. And I actually pruned this year thinking, oh, this is not going to get out of control. And it already has. It is just so crazy. These are actually Concord grapes. They are delicious. We have a whole grape vine down further on the property, but this is just a random one that was here, and these were the best grapes. Very delicious. And then in this raised bed, there's a whole row of different varieties of blueberries going all the way down, and I've mulched it with the straw in hopes that it will keep moist, because I don't really have drippers or anything on here, and when we've left in the past it just hasn't gotten watered. We didn't have any blueberries last year, but this year they are starting to actually produce, which is really exciting. And I've planted some new ones. I've really trimmed back the ones that were dead, just trying to give them, you know, hope for new life. But let's see, like this one here has quite a few blueberries. So exciting. So exciting. But they were in really bad shape when we moved in, and somehow we've reclaimed them. Hopefully next year will be even better. This is a goji, is that how you say it? Goji berry? But there's no berries on that one. But it is doing better than it was last year, so that's good. Right, in this back part of the garden, I have two separate beds that I've just kind of put into the ground. This one is going to be more of like a medicinal herb garden, and this one is just a cut flower garden. So I'll kind of tell you what my plans are here. This bed over here, the cut flower garden, is obviously there's no flowers in it right now, but this is my first year planting this one here. My goal is most of these are going to be perennials, and there are several annuals. I have lots of like sunflowers and that type of thing. There's bulbs in here. We had tulips, which didn't actually flower this year, and we had another one, and now I can't remember what they were, but they did flower and they were beautiful. So we did those. I planted some new bulbs, some anemones, I think that's how you say it. Those are coming up. And then there's a lot of other stuff in here. There's some cosmos, there's zinnias. Those obviously are annuals. They won't come back every year. There's some morning glories. I planted some sweet peas. There's yarrow, snapdragons, straw flowers. What else? Bells of Ireland. I think those are coming up. It's really hard because I planted a lot of the seeds in the ground, and we have a lot of slugs, like a lot of slugs. So they, as soon as it sprouts, the slugs just eat those tender little greens and they're gone. And since it's my first time planting a lot of these, I don't know if the stuff that's coming up, if it's weeds or if they're actually like a seedling. So I look up a lot of them, like, oh, this might be this might be this. And, you know, I planted them in rows and I did label them, but until you know what they look like, it's really hard to determine if it's actually a seedling. Oh, I do have some hollyhocks in here. I had no idea how big hollyhocks got, so that might be a mistake. I might have to take those out and put them somewhere else, because I planted a hollyhock last year in this other raised bed that I'll show you in a minute, and it is huge. It didn't really grow last year, but this year it came back, and wow, it's going to be beautiful. But I have them planted very closely here, and I think that will have to change, but you know, whatever. It's, like I said, it's an experiment, and you'll live and learn. What else? I bought this delphinium. Is that how you say it? Delphinium? I bought that one at a local nursery just a couple weeks ago, and there's a couple of other ones that I planted and bought. So on this other side over here, this is going to be mostly sunflowers, and it looks like a bunch of weeds, I know, but there are lots of sunflowers in here. They're kind of popping up. I've had to replant a bunch of them because either the birds or the slugs ate it, and I even covered it with like agrabah to try and help prevent that, but like I said, it didn't go very well. So yeah, it looks like a bunch of weeds, but let's look at it now, and then hopefully in a couple months it's just gonna be full of flowers. That's what I'm really hoping. All right, and then for the medicinal herb little garden here, again, this is all an experiment, and I've never grown any of these things. They may be planted way too closely together. I have no idea, but right now they're super small and it looks like absolutely nothing. But so let's get real close here. Like, you gotta get super duper close. You see this right here? Okay, that is eucalyptus. All right, and here's another eucalyptus. It's so little you would never know that was there. I have echinacea here. I have dill in the middle. I have calendula, and I had planted some calendula seeds. Those were transplants. I had planted some seeds in here, but I don't know if they ever popped up. And a sunflower over there. The dill is in the middle. It's looking okay. And there should be lavender down here at some point. Again, it's so hard for me to tell if they're weeds or sprouts. I have some borage, and this yarrow plant I bought from the local nursery. It looks such an interesting plant, but it looks like it might be having some flowers real soon. And I had my own yarrow that I was growing from seed, but you can see it's right there, and it's pretty much dead. So I don't know why I can't grow some of these things. But anyways, hopefully this will look more abundant in the next couple of months as well. All right, walking out into this other garden, Jeremy actually cut this for me so I can actually get through the garden this way. I was having to go through, we had a door way over here, which there's still a door, but now I don't have to use that, and I'd have to walk all the way around. But now I can just come right through here. It is so nice. So I have all of my chives here, which are coming to the end of their flowering time. The boys actually were deadheading a bunch of them, and they just left them in the garden. So there's a bunch of dead flowers on the ground. Okay, so this is that hollyhock I was talking about. Look how big that is. But there's actually gonna be flowers. I'm so excited. It should be beautiful, but it's huge. It's really big. And then I have some beans here that will hopefully be growing up onto this fencing. And on this side, there's some more beans. There's some peas. It looks like a whole lot of nothing in here because stuff is so little. I had spinach. I just pulled it out because it had gone to seed. I think there's one little spinach plant left here. And then I have some cucumbers that are looking so sad. So sad because of the slugs. Darn slugs. But yeah, and then this is something new I'm trying. This little low tunnel here, very low tunnel. But it's been working out really good. I'll open it up and show you what we got in here. All right, in this low tunnel, I basically took like a dripper line, and it was already curvy, so we just curved it and we shoved it into the ground, and we bought this, and I can leave this linked below off Amazon, and it's just like I think it's called agrabah. I'm pretty sure it is, but light still gets through it, water still gets through it, but the caterpillars do not, and aphids, I suppose, anything that flies. However, slugs do go in there because they're already in there. So you can see on my radishes, which we've already pulled out a bunch of them, the slugs, oh look, here's one right now. The slugs love, let me just take care of this little guy real quick here before he gets away. Okay, so the radishes have been eaten by slugs. They're all over these darn things. I haven't been in here today, so let me take care of this one here. I really do not like slugs. They really gross me out. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like what they do. Anyways, I need to do a slug check on these. I need to do that. But besides the weeds that are in here, we have some radishes, which we've already pulled some, but they're looking okay. And then I had just put, this was some cilantro that I just transplanted from out front, just seeing if it would do well in here. And we have lettuce, just little lettuce seedlings starting, but they're doing well. And then I had just transplanted these cabbages. So we have 3 cabbages, an arugula plant, and then there's a lettuce there. There's another red leaf lettuce, and then this kale is almost too tall to be in here. I probably need to start using that. But this has worked really good. It's worked really good for the caterpillars. It has not worked on the slugs. I really need to find something else for the slugs because there's just little baby slugs everywhere. So if any of you have any ideas on how to deter these little teeny slugs that can just nibble away and eat everything, let me know. And of course I try to do things organically. I haven't sprayed anything on any of the plants yet. I have used neem oil in the past, but I don't know if that works on slugs. I should probably look it up. I need to look it up. So this little enclosed raised bed was a really high production last year. However, now that we have all of this fenced in properly and the deer aren't getting in, I'm not really using this as much. But there's some straggling things in here. We have some carrots that are left over. I planted a couple of cabbages out here just to see, you know, what will do better, if these are the ones under the row cover. I have some lettuces, another random sunflower. These are zinnias that I planted from seed. They're doing okay. We got some celery. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. We have some strawberry pots in here. Again, they were just from the other house. They're not producing as much as the other ones, but they have little strawberries. This flower here is so beautiful. I cannot remember the name. I need to look it up. But this one is almost at the end of its life here, but we have lots of other ones coming. It's a perennial. It is producing way more flowers this year than it ever has in the past. So yeah, there's the garden. This is my very dirty potting bench. This is all the stuff that didn't really survive. Some straggling things. We have some more zinnias, some very sad tomato plants. And then I'll show you in the greenhouse. So this is our little greenhouse here, and yeah, I just kind of have stuff over here. These are, I believe, 72 cell trays that I recently got. I wanted them earlier, but they had actually dropped in price. I'll leave those linked below as well if you want to check it out. This is my mouse trap because I really do not want I'm getting into all my new seeds that I just planted. So I just planted 30 sunflower seeds. I have some baby's breath, some kale to replace the other stuff once that is done. I have, what else? I planted some more tomatoes just to see if they'll actually do anything. I replanted my Kajari melons, several types of cucumbers, some zucchini, marigolds, and cosmos. So that's what's in these new trays. We'll see what happens. And then back here, this is all the stuff that didn't get transplanted, but it looks so sad. Like, these are my peppers, guys. They're just pitiful. That's why I decided we're not doing peppers or tomatoes. These peppers are looking okay. These are the Shishito peppers, which we actually really love Shishito peppers. So those I'll probably try and find a place for, but I don't know. I'm just scared to put it out because it's taken so long to grow to that point. This is, so these are my tomatoes. Like, this is what they look like. It's just sad. That's how big they are. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't really get it at all. It must have just been, it's not warm, so maybe that's the problem. These are some more lupin that I planted. Look how cute they are when they first sprout. We have a really huge one on the deck. I have some more black-eyed Susans, just some random stuff that is just kind of chilling in here until we find a place in the garden. I'm gonna take you around and just show you quickly our fruit trees and kind of what they're doing. We have apple, cherry, pear. We have a plum. I believe we have an elderberry tree that I just discovered this year somehow. We have grapes. I think that's it. We recently planted 2 new trees, a cherry and an apple tree. Those obviously will not produce for many years to come, but the trees that were here were very established. So this first tree here, this is actually our apple tree. I have no idea what type of apple it is because last year they got some sort of worms or something in them and I didn't know what to do and we were busy at the time, so we didn't try to salvage them. But you can see they are starting to grow, and there's actually quite a few on this, so I need to keep a really close eye on them this year and hopefully we can have apples. This is our cherry tree. It's huge, and we have lots of cherries. Oh, and one just fell off. So this is the cherries. They're Rainier cherries. Last year we had pretty good production. We did prune the tree. We chopped off the top in hopes that we would get better production on the bottom. It still needs some pruning. You can see it's very wild. We lost a branch too in a windstorm because that log back there, that was a tree that fell right onto the cherry tree. So yeah, we still need to build something for the bottom to keep the raccoons from going up there, although I haven't seen any raccoons this year. Okay, I'm going to take you to the grapes and the pear trees. We have one pear tree that produced a lot of pears last year. This year there isn't a single pear. When all of our fruit trees were flowering, the early flowering trees, they actually had flowers, and then we had a freeze. So our plum tree, which had an abundant amount of plums last year, have 0. There isn't a single flower that produced a plum, which is really sad because they were so delicious. Like, we had more plums than we knew what to do with them. We sold a bunch of them. We gave a ton of them away. Just so many. So I was really heartbroken that we didn't have any plums this year. So this little plum tree right here, there isn't a single pear on, and there was probably like 50 pears on this tree last year. Maybe it was a combination of overproduction and it's such a small tree. It looks like it had some damage, so it's a very small tree. I don't know, but not a single pear on that one. These are the grapes, and I did prune these this year, but they're still just really out of control. But there are grapes growing. We had a ton of grapes last year. Again, we ate a lot of them. Some of them have seeds. I juiced some of them. I gave a ton of them away. I froze a bunch of them. I can't remember. I know I weighed them to see how many we had, and it was like, I don't even know how many pounds. It was ridiculous. I should go look that up because it was crazy. Okay, so then on our property line here, we have this puny little tree over here. I don't know that it's actually supposed to be a tree, but we did like a plant identification, and I think they're elderberries. If anyone has any idea, let me know in the comments, but let's see if we can get it to focus here. Come on. Does that look like elderberries? That's what it said. It has like a purple vine and little berries type things. So this was buried under these 2 hydrangeas that are not doing well. One is dead, the other is barely hanging on. So we kind of strapped that up in hopes that we'd get something. Okay, so then amongst all these other hydrangeas, there's a pear tree here. There's like just a couple of pears on that one. And then this one has so many pears. So that's really exciting. Lots of pears on this one. This is a very established tree. And then there's one more pear tree down there. And I don't know, I'm thinking maybe it's not going to do so well this year. Then this is our newest cherry tree. And this is our teeny little apple tree, which doesn't look real great at all. It actually doesn't look good at all. Oh no, this is the cherry. Oh, well. We took a chance. We got them at Costco. I know Costco's not the place to buy plants, trees. We've had not great experience with buying things there. So this one may have to go back. It may be dead. Because it doesn't seem, it did start to flower and then well, it's not anymore. But the apple one is doing okay, so that's good. But bummer about the cherry. So those are our fruit trees. There's another apple in the back. That one actually has apples on it. And the plum tree, like I said, doesn't have anything. There's 2 plum trees. They don't have anything this year. So I think that's pretty much all of our food production, gardening stuff for this year so far. So anyways, I hope this was helpful to someone. I love watching gardening videos from everyone out there, so I thought I would do this, and I love going back and looking at the cut flower garden. It doesn't look like anything right now. It looks like a bunch of weeds, but hopefully in a couple of months there's going to be so many flowers. I don't know what to do with them. So I hope that's the case. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.